PowerPoint ready to go. I just want to also say a few things about the Women's History Month. As a matter of fact, today happens to be International Women's Day. I see some folks in red that reminds me of that. And all around the world, we should be mindful that women are calling off work. They're protesting, boycotting, demonstrating, just to show a world without women. And so if anyone ever wonders what the impact of women are in the military, all they would need to do is just look around this room. And if there weren't any women fulfilling a role as ombudsman, you would see slowly the function of the military grinding to a halt. So not to mention, this would be like a sad and lonely presentation. So I thank you. And I thank the organizers for inviting me today. So EFMP is Exceptional Family Members Program. How many of you out there are familiar with that program? You can raise your hand. Awesome, that's great. Because a lot of times in my profession, I don't see a lot of people who actually know about the program, but I'm going to use this time to tell you a little bit about it. You can change this slide. My objectives today is to show you a little bit about EFMP history, and we'll have questions at the end. I'm going to try to pack a lot of information in a little bit of time. So we're going to go over the EFMP history and the goals. Myths versus reality, benefits of EFMP, program eligibility, the enrollment process, and the resources of it. And that's a lot of stuff, but we're going to try to roll through it. Change the next slide. So there's over 13,000 Navy service members enrolled. Now I think that may be more so up to 15,000 now. And the over 16,000 Navy EFMP family members are enrolled in the program. Over in the corner, the program started in September 1987. Next, in September 1998, as it says, it evolved to include the identification of and enrollment of family members with special needs. In 1987, the program was actually established as an auxiliary of Navy spouses. In December 2005, the special education piece was added to the program with the DODIA schools. And in 2012, the implementation of the EFM Liaison Program, which would be my role to help the documentation process of the program. In 2011, NFAS was also included, so that was a way to put a computer program into the EFMP program. All right, the next slide. All right. Primary goals of EFMP support the mission and operational readiness of the Navy, which is first and foremost. EFMP is a detailing program, and it helps to get Navy service members ready to PCS in a moment's notice. If you notice, when you are, the exceptional family members program actually has ensures the service members assigned only to those geographic areas where the medical and educational needs of their EFM can be met. So what happens with the EFMP program is family members who are, say for instance, have a child with autism in their PCSing, they can't go to a new location without the services being there in the location that they're going. Two, it promotes the the system navigation and access to services, and they identify family members with ongoing medical, psychological, educational needs. With that piece, before you PCS, you'll go through a family screening, and you will be able to then identify the family members that are within the program. Next, they enable the service member to continue their career and care for the family. And then, most importantly, retain top quality personnel in the Navy, so that having a exceptional family member won't obscure their Navy career. Go to the next slide. All right. When we saw the goals, there are also myths that are among the service members within the EFMP program. We're going to go over some of those. Let me look at it again. So the number one myth is that it limits duty stations. As we mentioned earlier, there's a family screening within the EFMP program that identifies the families. A lot of service members think that if they are if they're identified, then they are limited in the duty stations that they can be assigned to. And so we're going to see the reality of that. Enrollment doesn't limit where service members can be assigned. All active duty service members must be worldwide assignable based on the needs of the Navy. So you won't be limited to where you can go. So that's within certain stipulations. Go to the next slide. All right, so EFMP may limit where families can accompany their sailor, but not the sailor him or herself, and where they can be assigned. So a sailor who has a EFM can leave their family member within the area where they're receiving care, but they can go out to their duty station out in another country. So they are not necessarily limited, but their families will remain in a place where they can receive care. So the next myth is it gives sea duty or deployment exemption. So a lot of times some service members may think because they're in EFMP they won't be sent to certain areas. But once again, as we mentioned earlier, number one, it's a detailing program and we serve the Navy's needs. So the EFMP enrollment does not exempt sailors from sea duty or deployments. Next. All right. A lot of sailors believe that it hurts their careers because they can't go to the duty stations that they are assigned. And we saw that earlier.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep.
Yes. So, like it says, the most popular myth about EFMP, a sailor is more likely to compromise their career by accepting orders they can't execute because of the last-minute family issues the command is unaware of. So that's the only time that it could really compromise their career is if they hide the fact that they have an exceptional family member, which can happen even after family screenings, but that's the only way that it could really compromise their career, because if you think about it, the Navy will have to pay for family to move out of a location where their family cannot receive care. So that's the only time that it could. But if a family member is enrolled in EFMP and follows the rules, then their family can be taken care of and they can proceed in their Navy career. So another myth is that EFMP is optional and it's their choice whether or not they can be in EFMP. As we mentioned earlier, there are family screenings, and EFMP is a mandatory program. A lot of sailors are unaware of that until after they're in the program. So this is per OPNAV instruction 1754.28. And as it reads, yes.
So
would this be something that would be discovered during like the overseas screening, or like if they weren't already in the, so when in the program and then the family goes for overseas screening, that's, they would be asked those questions and it could be identified?
Yes, sir. When you are then identified as a special needs, then you're contacted by maybe your PCM or your MTF, which is your medical treatment facility, or a person in my role that have had the family identified, and then we enroll them in the program. But a lot of times it doesn't go as far as being articles being taken out, but it is mandatory that once you're identified that you're enrolled into the EFMP. All right. We're rolling. So quickly, the benefits of EFMP, you have access to TriCare Echo, which is a program for respite care, and also it helps family members with ABA therapy and things like that. The needs are supported in every duty area. So if you're in EFMP, you're not ever placed in an area where you can your family's needs are not met, and you have a continuity of care wherever you are stationed. You will see the same care that is taken out in one area to the next. You have enhanced communication between your medical treatment facility, TriCare, your PCMs, and even with me, our EFMP case liaisons. It lessens necessary family separations. So, like I mentioned earlier, if you are in an area where your family would have to then move, you're not limited to the area where you are then placed or moved out. It provides connections to resources as well. When you are in the EFMP, you will need access to resources, and you're always given access to resources when you're in the EFMP program. And for the Navy Command, which is important on that aspect, it enhances command readiness, as I mentioned earlier. The needs of the Navy come first and foremost, so you'll see less moves back out of an area. You'll see more readiness within your family, your Navy families, and your sailors. Also have enhanced communication between the sailors' families and the medical community, and also the case liaisons. We're going to just skip to maybe, they may reduce number of early returns, as I mentioned earlier, and hardship discharges. Okay, the eligibility criteria. They're all active duty military and mobilized selected reservists. So that includes Coast Guard and active duty reservists. Military dependent enrolled in DEERS with ID who resides with the sponsor. So that could be parents of the sailor. As long as they're enrolled in DEERS and are a dependent of the family members, or even in some cases, if the family is divorced, as long as the child is with the sailor as a dependent, then they can be enrolled in the EFMP program. So also medical, educational, and psychological needs are required, special services for 6+ months. So in that case, and we'll talk about the levels later, you don't have to be in EFMP only a year or two, so just because if you have a special need, say for instance migraines or something like that, that lasts more than 6 months, then you can be enrolled in EFMP for just that much. All right, the enrollment process. When you're identified, you can self-identify, you can go through the family screening, or you can also be identified later on if you are at a medical treatment facility coming in for whatever needs, then you can be identified as an EFM. And then you enroll with your DD 2792 or your DD 92/1, which is the educational component. You enroll in there with your MTF coordinator, which is, it takes the PCM's information on the DD 2792, then they send it to the Central Screening Committee. The Central Screening Committee recommends what category you are, and then they take it to PERS 456. If PERS 456 assigns you a category code, then there is then sent to the detailers to make your AFMP assignment. All right. So your DD 2792 is basically a medical summary, and you have addendums to 1, 2, and 3, which are medical, mental health, autism spectrum, and even asthma or restrictive airway disease, something like that, are also listed in the DD 2792s. And they are always filled out by your primary care physician. And if they can write prescriptions, then they can also fill out your DD 2792s. As I mentioned earlier, the DD 2792/1 is for your special ed. It can be filled out by the school provider, guidance counselor, assistant principal. As it says, it can be filled out by the district office, even if you're a homeschool.